Jamaal Bowman. It's so important that we're all here today, and I love being here in Catch specifically because Catch has supported and been the home of so many amazing gatherings to support elected officials, strong, progressive elected officials all up and down the ballot throughout New York. So shout out to them as well. I was saying a little bit earlier, but it's so important. Jamaal Bowman, when Jamaal got elected in 2020, what he did was prove that this progressive movement in this country is real, that it's not a fluke, it's here to stay. In 2018, this was an accident, the turnout was low, la 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 la. But we set out to say, no, this was not an accident. This is not a moment. It's a movement. And in order to prove that, we had to replicate our results. We had to say, no, it wasn't just this person in this place with special conditions is when this can happen. It was, no, this can happen anywhere, anytime, when everyday people come together and are conscious and committed and reject cynicism and get in the game and elect game-changing elected officials to the United States Congress. That's what Jamaal did. Now, we're in the second phase of this story, where the cynics from all sides of the political spectrum, mind you, all sides, this is not just a left or right thing, that say, oh, okay, even if you can make it in there, you can't stay. They'll kick you out. This country is not worth fighting for. This system is not worth participating in. We're just going to sit here and stay home and grovel in depression. No, we're not. I refuse to live that way. Do you refuse to live that way?
Yeah.
I refuse. And we refuse. Because we reject any sort of narrative and any sort of story where we do not have power in our own future, where we do not have power in our own destiny. I reject it. We can change this country. We will change this country. We are changing this country. And because we are changing this country, that's why Jamaal Bowman has a primary challenge. Because he's working. Because it is working. If it wasn't working, they would just let it rock. Jamaal Bowman is getting a primary challenge because he kept the promises he made when he first got elected. That's why he's got a primary challenge right now. So in the second phase of the story, they say people, even if you try to go in there and do the right thing, you won't be able to stay. You will either be transformed and they'll change you, or if they don't change you, you'll be kicked out. Now, we're going to say that's not true either. Because Jamaal Bowman is going to get re-elected in June. Is it going to be easy? No. Nothing worth having ever is. Nothing worth having ever is. We don't wake up and say, oh, I just put on my pants, good for me, this was great. No. We are proudest of the achievements that were a dogfight, that we had to stretch and grow and pursue, and that's what this is about. That's what this is about. Because the politics of this country are changing. The politics around Israel and Gaza and Palestine are changing. They are changing. People care here in a way that they've never cared before. It's changing. And it's transforming. And they're not allowing these cynical attacks that divide us are not working the way that they used to work.
That's right.
They're not. And they're panicking. They're panicking. And because they're panicking, they're saying we're going to spend $100 million on a handful of people to ensure that nobody advocates for human rights and human rights for Palestinians. It is wild to me that there are 435 members of Congress, and they can't even tolerate 10 or 13 that stand up for a ceasefire. Out of 435 members,
shame on them.
13 stand up for a ceasefire, and that is not tolerated?
That ain't right.
That's not tolerated? That is a censorship. That's a censorship state, that is a censorship establishment, but at the end of the day, we exist, we're here, we're gonna be reelected with the consciousness of everybody. I want to talk about what it's going to take, because it's going to take a lot. We are not messing around when it comes to the power that we're standing up against. It is real. It is real. And I know when people see these atrocious votes that happen in the Congress, and it's like, do you believe in human rights? 400 people, no. 10 people, yes. And it feels like what, the despair that can fill people up in that. I want to talk about the fragility of that number. Because it can feel like, okay, 400 people who actively are hateful and terrible and are entrenched. But I actually see that that's not the case. It's 400 people who are scared and 10 people who aren't. That's right. That's what it is. It's actually, I'm not saying all, whatever, but it's the vast majority. It's not about intentional malice, it's about fear. And when Jamaal gets reelected, we're going to show those 400 people there's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing to be scared of in standing up for the human rights of Palestinians. There's nothing to be scared of in standing up to a foreign policy establishment that prioritizes war over peace. To be scared of in a just future. There's nothing to be scared of in guaranteeing health care to everybody in this country. There's nothing to be scared of in a living wage. There's nothing to be scared of in guaranteeing college tuition or tuition-free public colleges and universities. This is the future not to be scared of. What would happen if we won? We have to reject the politics of scarcity, the politics of fear. We're going to go after and get what we want because we deserve it and everyday people deserve a livable future. The way that we do that is that we need to go all out. We have to knock on doors, tons and tons of doors. We need to coordinate. If you've got a car, volunteer to drive people. If you don't got a car, you got to say you don't have a car so we can drive you. We need to knock on doors. We need to pick up the phone. We need to phone bank. When people hear Jamaal's story, the data shows us, when people hear Jamaal's story, his growth and his support skyrocket. But they have to hear this story. And the most effective people and the most effective places that they can hear from are everyday people. There's a difference from when you get a postcard in your mailbox or see something on television. It's still okay, but what moves people the most is when they hear it from someone they know. And so we need to be like this constantly between now and June, talking to people, posting, expanding support, saying when the primaries are, getting people out there, because that's how we re-elect him. That's how we stand up to money. That's how we stand up to this kind of empty thing. And I said this before, and I'll end on this. In 2018, when we were running here against Joe Crowley, it was crazy. It was a crazy thing to do. I had no money. I was a waitress. How do you convince somebody to not vote for the guy with 20 years of experience? But one of the things that I talked about then, that I said just now, and I'll say again, is that I said, so many poor decisions are made out of fear. And it's really like the story of the Wizard of Oz, where you have all of these people that are governed by fear of the Wizard of Oz. But you've got some folks, ragtag group of folks on the yellow brick road making their way to the Emerald City. And nobody wanted to go in there. Nobody wanted to march into the center for fear of this big kind of omnipotent power, until someone pulled back the curtain and saw that this wasn't actually this omnipotent, hyper-powerful thing at all. It was someone and something very small and very approachable. And that's what the scepter of this power is. Are we going to take on, this big, unjust lobby? Yeah, we are.
Damn right.
We are going to do that. And we're going to dismantle it.
Yeah.